This sign here is starting to be the norm. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of our fault. Now before we start, you'll have to forgive me, I'm going to be shooting this video over several days from multiple different locations. It's pretty early right now, and there's a dog. Want to say hi, puppy dog? Oh, 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 oh.
Easy down.
Now that I've taken care of that, parking, it's been a real sore subject lately, and the whole COVID excuse hasn't made it any worse, and some of that will tie into this, but I'm not sure how much of that. But most likely when it just comes to parking. But got a real problem right now. Nowhere to park. And it's getting a whole lot worse, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better for a while. Let's face it, here in this industry, we have a parking problem. Not just when we're out, but also when we're home, and I'll cover that too. But the narrative has been, it's because they hate truck drivers. That's not really accurate. In some ways it is, and I'll share a couple of stories. But for the most part, it's not. I mean, you get everything from paved lots to chains to things like this little Shell station where I'm waiting here in Brookhaven, Mississippi. We've jumped around a little bit, but that's the nature of the beast in this business. So I'm going to say some things you might agree with, maybe some things you won't agree with, but at the end of the day, you'll at least know where I'm coming from when it comes to parking, because this is something I've been watching for a while, and it's not getting any better. So let's start with the first thing. We start off with just mere space. Look what happened in Chicago. They got rid of all the truck stops, and slowly but surely, they're putting them all back. I'm going to start off with talking about the local community. Businesses and everything are set around the local community. They're not set around us. That's why I've always said we need to maintain and be professional and respect the local community. Because if I've learned anything watching any Hunter S. Thompson video about Las Vegas, is you don't burn the locals. So the local community is very important to be taken care of, because despite the fact that this place over here has got a big lot for truck parking and sells diesel, these are all locals in here. And that's why you need to be very careful about where you park in places like this, and I'm going to talk about that. The majority of drivers I've seen coming in and out of here, the reason this place is so popular is because there's really not a whole lot between here and Jackson, or between Jackson and the Louisiana line. The nearest chain's about 35 miles away, but the majority of these people are all local. So what do I mean about burning the locals? A lot of people are going to argue with me about parking at places like Walmart's, Targets, and Lowe's. Some cities will let you, most won't anymore. And there's a very real reason why. And that's because we burned them once too often. Speaking of parking, I'm over here at the customer now, and they took our parking away. At least on that side of the road. So now when it comes to customers and stuff like that, and well, we were talking about locals going to the Walmarts and stuff and parking. A lot of them don't have a problem letting you park there for an hour or two if you're going to shop. The problem comes because the Walmart and the Target and the Lowe's is there to serve the community. It's not there to serve you. So they have to listen to the complaints of the people of the community. So if you're out there throwing pee bottles out on the ground and bags of trash and letting your dog crap in the parking lot, it's not going to last. And that's what we're facing now. Because I've said this 100 times and people want to fight me over this. When it comes to the general public, they don't differentiate between truck drivers. Whether it's for one company or another, or whether he's a flatbedder, or whether he's a bed bugger or anybody like that. To them, we're truck drivers. And one bad experience with a local is going to taint their perception of you for a long time. And trust me, they don't want to get to their local Walmart and be stepping around bags of trash and bottles of pee. They don't want that. But we've also had some other instances where it's been just as bad. There's a truck stop in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I think it's a speedway, I believe. It's near another McLean. And, ooh, it's getting hot in here. It's near another McLean. And so we have to go down there from time to time. And we used to have a lot we could park in behind the back. It was owned by the construction company. But what ended up happening was the guy was nice enough to let us park there, but what ended up happening was the same kind of thing. Bags of trash, human feces, bottles of pee. Just, the place was trashed, and he was having to send his employees over there on a daily basis to pick this stuff up. Said he don't want it there. They'll tell him to clean it up. They'll fine him. So finally, he just, after a couple months of this, he was like, we're done. Concrete barriers blocked it off. And if you show up and try to park there, they'll have you towed off. That's the truth. You know, we got a bunch of stories like this. Contrary to popular belief, big cities don't hate trucks. Big cities are just big cities. It's urban sprawl. And property is at a premium. And a lot of times a truck stop that's been there for years is in a prime location to be developed. The area is depressed. Property's cheap. Guys are wanting to revitalize it. And there's millions of dollars to be made. That's why they run us out. It's not that they hate us, that there's money to be made. And as dumb as it sounds, a golf course is going to bring in more money than a truck stop. Likewise, the developer can take that same 15 acres the truck stop was on, turn it around, and quadruple his money. It's about money. That's why the TA in San Diego closed. Don't believe me? Look at the Santa Monica airport out there in Santa Monica, California. They've been trying to close that for years, citing this, that, and the other thing. Never mind the fact the city grew up around it. I mean, the airport was there first, and suddenly it's a problem. Well, if you Google it and look, guess what? It's prime real estate. That's what this is about. It's about money. So they want that money. Now, like I said earlier, Chicago started realizing that they need truck stops. So they've actually been putting, big chains have been coming in and putting a whole lot more truck stops back into Chicago to replace the ones they ripped out 15 years ago. And that's nice. They're not big like they used to be, but they are functional, and there's quite a few of them. But that doesn't solve a lot of problems, but it does help. But we as truck drivers have to take care of these places. Now, don't get me wrong, I deal weekly with whiny SOBs that don't like looking at my truck. These people don't have anything better to do, and they need to get lives. But that beside the point. The problem is that the majority of these people are also locals, and they've made such a name for themselves and created such a mess wherever they go that a lot of times they don't want to deal with it. They just tell the drivers to move on. I'm dealing with that at my house right now. But yeah, this got me thinking. I just lost my parking spot, and I'm trying to find a new one. But I will. But a lot of guys just... The problem with a lot of urban sprawl is people come out of the big city to these small towns like where I live, and then complain that it's a small town. Look, I may look like I live in town, but there's a whole lot of country around me. You know, I live in a little small town, and you know, it's a drive to Wichita. But these people come out here, and then they bring their BS with them. If you're going to move to a small town, leave your BS back at the house. Leave your BS in the city. Small towns are like that. And I'm dealing with that right now because, well, a lot of subdivisions are starting to pop up, and these guys are bringing their crap with them. So that's something you're going to be dealing with also, and that's created a lot of problem, especially in my neck of the woods. Now, this is probably the part that's going to make a lot of people mad. It's not anything to worth arguing about because it's a fact. I don't like a lot of it either, but the fact of the matter is, nobody owes you a place to park. It's nice to have one. Now, when the cities start doing a lot of ordinances and restricting things, you kind of need to put a pin in that and get a lot of that stopped before it starts. That's why it's important to be involved with your local city council and things of that nature. But one of the things is things like Walmarts, and like I said, they're not truck stops. They don't have to let you park there. Truck stops don't let you park there. They're starting to ban us from on-ramps for the same reasons, on and off ramps, because people are trashing them. Pee bottles, bags of crap. You just take what I said and just repeat it into every situation. People are tired of it. The locals are tired of it because they have to deal with it. And in fact, in Washington now, I know when I used to go out there all the time, it was over an $1,100 fine per pee bottle. They said that's a biohazard. They have to send somebody out to clean it up properly, and they catch you, and they pretty much have your DNA in a bottle. It's $1,100 a bottle, so something to think about. And just remember, if you're dumping the pee out your passenger side window, that's somebody else's driver's side. Don't do that. Take it to the grass. Do something, but out the window. That's disgusting. But I digress. I was going to tie in some stuff about COVID affecting all of this, but I might do a video on that later because people have used COVID to do a whole bunch of stupid stuff about parking. Stuff that's got nothing to do with the disease. They have found a way. I mean, excuse me, it started with the Homeland Security Act and got dumber from there because everybody found their place in the sun to start enforcing a bunch of BS that they couldn't enforce otherwise. COVID is no different, but I digress. So, yeah, I don't even know where I was going with this. Yeah, I remember now. Parking at the truck stops. A lot of time, they're going to start enforcing a lot of those no parking rules soon. It's getting bad. Guys are abusing curbs, and they're abusing the fuel lanes, and they're just abusing the parking lots. And mind you, somebody's got to go out and clean those up too. And eventually it's going to get to the point where they're just going to start bringing tow trucks in. I've talked to corporate pilots, Loves, all that. The managers don't need corporate approval despite what anybody says. I talked to the guy himself at the pilot. He says any manager on duty has carte blanche to tow any truck at any time they see fit. And what I'm noticing though, and a kind of a disturbing trend, is there's more pay parking now than ever. And yeah, everybody's got their own feelings about that. But you know, most companies now are starting to pay for that. Turn in the receipt. A lot of companies pay for that now. A lot of them don't. But with the fact that a lot of these customers aren't allowing you to park at the facilities anymore, I'm parked in line, but I'll tell you right now, a lot of these places, especially McLean's, there's no parking. You can't even check in. They'll tell you, hey, nope, gotta go. Can't even check in. Like the one in Rocky Mount, you check in, they send you elsewhere. You can't park anywhere around there. They'll just call you and you got to make it in somehow. So with pay to park and all that, it's made things a little easier in some ways, but it's made things a little more costly in others, and the prices for things are just continue to go up. But that's another video, so let's get back to parking. So parking, what are we supposed to do about it?
like I've said, there's never been a time more than now to where we need to band together and be professional. That's just not even a joke. We need to be professional about all of this. You know, start taking care of yourself. Start taking care of your truck. Start picking up your trash, using trash cans. Quit throwing bags of crap in the parking lot. Pick up after your dogs. This is important. It sounds stupid, but I don't even have a dog, and I get penalized for just people who do. It's a fact. You know, guys see a truck roll in with 6 inches of crap on his dash, the general public says he's a trashy trucker. Now more than ever, we need to be professional and take care of ourselves, take care of our parking, and work on getting new parking. This is where we have to be active in the local community that we're in and make it good for the rest of us. And we have to start holding each other accountable through whatever means necessary to ensure that this parking lasts, because this road right here I'm parked on, we've lost half of it. I'll get another 2 years, we're probably going to lose the other half. And then that road over there, I got a feeling we're probably going to end up losing that one eventually too. Which is stupid, because there's 3 different distributors along this stretch and they all rely on trucks. I'm looking at probably 1,000 trailers here, but they won't give any of us a place to park eventually because of things like this. So just food for thought.
And because of COVID and the need to keep things clean, we now have bathrooms that are outside and serviced once every 3 days, whether they need them or not. I guess the fact of the matter is a lot of these places we're losing permanently. We got to step up, because once they're gone, there's a 98% chance we're never going to get them back. You know, it's up to us to petition for these parking. It's up to us to make the most noise. There's more of us out here than ever. People want the product, they don't want us. We've got to, you know, it's a hard pill to swallow, but we need to be stepping up and we need to figure this out, because time's running out.
So I apologize for the bumpiness. I realize that I'm on my way home now, and I never filmed a conclusion. I never filmed a synopsis, whatever you want to call it. Hands-free. The one thing that I've been trying to get along with this whole video is that we're all in this together. The general public doesn't care. It's up to us to change their mind. And when I started this video showing you that picture of that no trailer parking, that's something I hadn't addressed yet, and that was another one of those instances that we did that to ourselves. What happened was a small fleet that is based in another town basically took over the truck stop, saving spots, parking cars in spots, dropping equipment everywhere, just really trashed the place up. Consequently, there was no place for us road drivers to park, and these guys weren't buying anything there. I mean, they weren't. So that kind of mentality is why things are happening. We're burning the locals, like I said. These guys got burned because the locals that depend on that truck stop were put at a disadvantage because some guy doesn't want to spend money to park his fleet on a lot that, you know, like he should. So it's a sticky situation. I mean, as a business owner, I get it. You got to save your money, but as a truck driver, I also get it. You just can't do things like that. So Anyhow, I hope this video has been informative. It wasn't meant to inflame or irritate or annoy. It just, this is what's happening. And it's up to us to change the public's mind. Sorry about the shakiness. Sorry about the audio too. So, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. You guys be safe out there, and we'll see you next video. Hope your holidays are good.